Hey, how's it going, guys? We're here to talk about You Bit Off a Mother, Brain.
No,
No, we're
look
not.
up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's
It's the Man of Steel,
Superman!
not your mother. Your
but she is
father.
a beautiful woman.
Zach's like, I got it too on digital.
I did get it on digital. I paid $5.
Yeah, I guess yeah, you got Rain's got the original,
Yeah, that's nice. I like that.
Oh no! I have
the print right there.
the original.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I mean, the original
Ooh,
print
yes.
collection. I went out and bought the actual, omnibus.
I do like that cover though, with like all of his like key players along the bottom of the screen. I just like that.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
First time opening this.
Oh,
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
a little sleeve cover.
And for this occasion, I rebagged and reboarded the entire
Nice.
the miniseries.
Is it just me, or do they always look better after you take them out? Like they look good in a bag, but then when you change it, it's like a crisp new bag and board. It just looks like $1,000,000.
Well, I started using these bags from a company called Comic Pro Line.
Mhm.
They're basically poor man's Mylars or Mylites, whichever you prefer. I've heard it both ways. And yeah, hopefully they won't wrinkle over time because Mylites don't, and these have a lot of the same components. So I've noticed this series. I only had this again for about a year, and those bags look like shit. So
Yeah.
hopefully these will age better.
The Mylar bags.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are those?
Nice.
Yeah,
Alright,
I said so far so good. I if I could, I would rebag my entire collection with these Comic Pro lines.
Cost you
Right
a
on.
couple pennies there.
They're the same. Actually, it's comparable to the regular bags.
Oh, really?
Not if you do like I do, and you double book in the same bag.
You put one in front and behind?
Yeah, that's how I do. I do like issue number 1 and then issue number 2 right behind.
That's when you're
does
pinching
that.
pennies.
Hmm?
You
Wait,
do that
what?
'cause you're pinching pennies.
No, so Metarog also does that.
I think, yeah, he was on Fossils the other night, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I saw that he did that.
So
Right on.
this book has a dedication from John Byrne. It says, the new Superman has many fathers and mothers. He was born out of a 50-year gestation period. Elements of his personality came from almost every interpretation of the character ever seen. To properly acknowledge everyone who contributed to that legacy, that would take a volume in itself. Here, a democratic alphabetical order is a list of some of those whose works and words influenced my part in the second Genesis, John Byrne. And he has Neil Adams on there. He's got Murphy Anderson, Otto Binder, Wayne Boring, Andrea Braun, Michael Carlin, Phyllis Coates, The Fleischer Studios, Michael Fleischer, John Forte, Paul Gibney, Dick Giordano, Mark Ruwald, Edmund Hamilton, Andrew Helfer, Jeanette Kahn, Gil Kane. Yes, Gil Kane's here too.
The no shot king.
Yes. Margaret Kidder, Jack Kirby, Jack Larson, Sinead Mead, Frank Miller, Noel Neal, Larry Niven, George Pep, Christopher Reeve, George Reeves, Rosalind Russell, Kurt Schaffenberger, Julius Schwartz, James Scott, Joe Schuster, Jerry Seigel, Roger Stern, Kurt Swan, Corey Vandernet, and then he has Mort Weisinger and Marv Wolfman. Yeah.
So Byrne had Mort Weisinger on the list because he never had to work for him.
Yeah.
Let's
I
say
feel like
there was a big party at the national offices when Weisinger retired.
Yeah.
I feel like Siegel and Schuster should be up at the top, even though it's alphabetical. I feel that they should be at the top of the list. They made the guy, so.
And this has the Superman a personal. It's called The Personal View by John Byrne. This was printed back in 1981. It's a little introduction, but then you get this. Then you get this sweet cover.
Did not read the introduction. I went straight to the. I never read the introduction.
Yeah.
I just went straight to the book.
We are getting some comments in here. And before we really jump into this, we'll read some comments, but then we'll do our deep dive. Since Ronnie, you're first, it says, yes, it is time to educate Zach, one of the best Superman runs of all time. I agree. This redefined the character in crucial, positive ways and should be the handbook that is used to write Superman. Unfortunately, they don't do that today. She also comes and says this S symbol is drawn with two fish swimming in opposite directions for the negative spaces in it. I thought you were going to say that S stands for hope, and I was going to say no, that can't be.
I still kind of like that. I still kind of like the S standing for something, but
see, anyone saying Super Selman? That's what the S stands for. Marani also saying that Clark's mother is a beautiful woman. And spoiler alert, both Martha and Jonathan Kent are alive in this in this miniseries. Yeah, and that's the thing too. Even through all the way to the 90s, the Dean, and this is what also inspired the Dean Cain run as well. Is the show. The mother and father were basically they're vital to Clark's personality. That's what made it so good because he was still not had all the answers. He has the powers. He'd go to them for advice. And then they'd get, and his dad would always give him the best advice he could give him, But he says, you also got to look at follow your heart, but you also got to take back and you maybe let taking other people's point of views as well too, because just because you may think something is right, you may end up being in the wrong. All right, so then also we got Tillian also saying it's a great back issue. We're gonna skip over Zach's comments since he's here anyway on the panel. Our first question from Dick Sergeant York is the first print always more valuable?
No. In fact, in the last several years, a lot of times the second prints, like the first Jane Foster Thor, the fourth printing is worth way more than the first.
Really?
By like hundreds of dollars. There's a collector's market for that, and the print runs get smaller each time, and that's become a thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now the Killing Joke, the first print, is the most valuable. This is just something that's sort of become a thing in the last several years.
All right, so how do you want to do this? You just want me to pull it up and show the pictures off, or do you want me to open my book? How do you want to do? You guys want to do this?
Let me give a quick overview.
Go ahead.
That I'm sure most of you have heard this before. DC had an event in 1985 called Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was time to clean up all their messes at once and basically start over. Well, one of the things they wanted to do with this clean slate was revamp Superman, who had been around for almost 50 years by then, but had become very stagnant. He was the superhero. He was the guy everybody heard of and everybody used to read, but not so much anymore, because what can you do with a guy that can literally play billiards with planets and is only affected by kryptonite and magic? I mean, the guy was so overpowered, and nothing ever really changed. So each issue was like had a beginning and an end. There was very little continuing stories. A couple guys tried it, but it was time for a change. So they sent out a call for creators to give them their pitch. Well, apparently John Byrne was the only one whose pitch was Clark Kent is the real person. Superman is the mask, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So they went with his. And this did aggravate a lot of purists, but it was a huge success when they did it. And this miniseries is basically a reintroduction to the Superman mythos. And in the 6 issues, each issue kind of spotlights a different facet of Clark's and Superman's life. Like the first one was his upbringing. Gone was super baby, super boy, super teen, super adolescent,
Mm-hmm.
And it was he grew up as his powers developed, but he grew up relatively normal, and it was only when he started getting a little full of himself that his dad figured it was time to show him, who he really was.
Yeah.
And the second issue is basically gives us a reintroduction to Lois Lane. The third one is a new take on the world's finest team of Superman and Batman.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth one is a reintroduction to Lex Luthor. The fifth one is Bizarro and Lucy Lane. And honestly, the only thing in the miniseries I did not like.
Really?
Yeah, and we'll get to that, but real quick, I said, if Lucy had accidentally fallen off of the balcony, I think it would have been much better than had she, because
Mm-hmm.
the suicide attempt I thought was kind of out of place because there was no build up to it. It was just like she has a conversation with Lois, and then
I
jumps
thought
off
that
the
too.
balcony.
I thought it was like, wow, where did that come from? Jeez.
And the sixth issue is kind of like a return to Krypton, but with a new with the John Byrne spin on it, which kind of set up the Superman status quo going forward. So that's basically, now we're gonna talk about him a little bit more in depth.
I gotta say though, I really like this. And when Byrne did this, after he saved Lois and stuff the first time,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't cover his face up and like that, so people kind of knew who he was. No, he wasn't wearing his glasses he normally wears. Actually, I don't think he had glasses at all at this point. But I like the fact that he gets so crowded, to the point where he's like, I just can't take it. Everybody wants a piece of me. They think I'm God.
Yeah,
they
right.
Touch me. And it's like I just can't handle it, But
yeah, I was reading through that. I was like, because it's very easy. Because up till now, like I said, I haven't really read any solo Superman titles. I've seen the movies. I've seen like Superman Returns. I saw Man of Steel, Batman v Super, and now, so having read this, I can kind of see these little bits and pieces. And there's probably not the best movie to pick from, but in Batman vs Superman, there's a scene where he's telling his mom, like, everyone worships me. They all, want me to lead them. I could see kind of where a little bit of that is probably taken from this, or the airplane scene with the spaceship and the airplane, Superman's first like big rescue.
Yeah,
I was watching. I was like, holy cow. What's his name? That did Superman Returns. He totally read this book. He got that idea from Man of Steel.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and in this first issue, the way that when Ma makes the costume for him, and even the little touches, like, and it really shows off your muscles, and Clark is legitimately embarrassed.
Yeah, he's like,
and it's just, like I said, having a Superman with parents. I thought that was one of the better ideas Byrne had for this. Unfortunately, every older person that Byrne draws all end up being like 5'4" and roly-poly.
Yeah, kind of. You can actually see, like, there's Pa Kent when Clark is in high school, and then when he gets older, it's like, oh yeah, you put on some pounds. I mean, it makes sense. It's realistic.
I guess at the time, but if you redid that now, John Kent or Pa Kent in this story is younger than I am.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's just because you're 50-something, you don't have to look like an 80-year-old man feeding the pigeons.
I want to point this out though. The mom, Martha Kent, keeps a scrapbook of him. This will come back in later in the series because like I said, you never want to keep scraps of Clark's events, but she does because she's proud of her son. But even the dad's like, it's like, it's very dangerous. If it falls on the wrong person, they can find out that Clark is Superman.
Yeah, right.
And that leads to an actual crossover between Batman and Superman, their first crossover. Well, after this, in the series later on.
But yeah, there was a scene in here because you touched on, having Clark Kent be the actual person and Superman being the mask. I know other people, what was it, like Kill Bill, I think, did it, where it's like Superman is the real person and Clark Kent's the mask.
Well, that's the way it had always been at DC.
Yeah. I did like this because I was reading through, there's this scene where Superman, he's like doing the costume with his parents, and he's like, well, I can't be on call 24 hours a day, so let me, on call. I'm just like, okay, so Superman's kind of like a volunteer thing. It's like his quote unquote job. So yeah, it is more like the mask, and Clark Kent is Smallville. Clark Kent is who he actually is, but then he goes through the whole like slumping his shoulders, slicking his hair back, and then there's like Daily Planet Clark Kent.
But what also the other thing Byrne did was this Clark isn't a wuss. He's not playing a wimp to throw off suspicion. He's he doesn't want to he doesn't want to be that because he didn't grow up that way.
Right.
So
he's very grassroots. He's gentlemanly. He's respectful. Like I'm trying to find it here. I'm flipping through. There's the scene. I think it's where he and Lois Lane are on that yacht.
Oh, that's
Lex
later on.
Him to. Yeah, that's later on.
Yeah. This is funny. Is like he flies by in the second issue and he's like, "Harry, what's wrong?" He's like, "He just spilled his coffee."
Great Caesar's ghost.
You don't expect that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "Lois, you got it." Like he's like, "Here, you like that's Superman? Who's the one to see the flames?" She's like, "She has to be." She's an outfit. When's the last time you saw a flying man in Metropolis?
Right.
Yeah. And if we're going to go on to issue 2, let's say this is the issue that basically establishes Superman and Lois, and this is another callback to the Silver Age. And it's another thing I loved about what Byrne did was his callbacks and homages to the Silver Age were very cleverly done. Where Lois stages an accident to get Superman to save her.
That's later on.
And after, when he saves her, he starts to fly away and she goes, "Get back here." And then she gets the interview. But as he leaves, he goes, "By the way, do you always keep an aqua lung under the seat of your car?" And she goes, "He knew." And so that was really cool. And then she obviously goes to the planet full of herself with her, what she thinks is an exclusive. And that's how she meets Clark Kent.
I did laugh every time I see this whole scene, the robbery and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, the liquor store.
And he's like, "Hey, you can't do that." So they all start fighting him.
Also, some of this, because again, it's Byrne wanted to show that he's not planet moving powerful, but he's also very powerful.
I love it. He takes the glasses off the person and just licks
them. Just like it's like you wouldn't hit a woman, would you? He just like takes off glasses and he's like boink.
But most ladies I know don't have dynamite under their coat.
Yeah, right. I love the scene even before that where there's like the girl with the beatbox and she gets picked. The purse snatcher comes by and so, like Superman stops him. The guy like sees him and he turns around and Superman he zips around him. And so Superman like gives the lady back her purse. He hangs the guy up on a lamppost, but then he still does like the small thing. It's like, "Hey, listen, that music's probably a little loud. You should probably be respectful of all the other people. We're all crammed together in this city." So it's like he did the good thing, but then he's also like,
I took that to be his Christopher Reeve tribute.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's something that you would have seen in the first Superman movie.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's and I thought that was a great touch.
And that's the thing I've always admired about that. This kind of writing, him going up and like just telling you, "Hey, can you turn that down?" And like there's the people on here on the street, not just you. And, it's just
now where I think this series really kicks into gear. Well, first I say, these are the first covers for the first issue.
Yep.
The first variant. So like I said, for everybody that's had enough of variants, you can thank John Byrne. Here's number 2.
I like that cover. That's cool.
Oh yeah.
It's probably my favorite one.
But I think it really starts kicking into gear with number 3. This is what everybody been waiting for.
Yep.
What was Superman and Batman going to be like in this new?
This one was probably my favorite issue of the 6.
I love art.
This might have been my favorite one.
One Night in Gotham City.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just really cool because it's like them first meeting each other, and Superman's heard that Batman's a vigilante. He actually swoops in and he's like, I'm gonna take you to police headquarters, and Batman's like, I go there on my own terms.
He's literally
he lets go of the line that Superman's carrying him on, and Superman's
he's,
like,
he's like,
he
I know,
jumped.
he takes it with him. He's like,
I'm gonna go Eglantine here, one at a time, fellas.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, Batman, he jumped. He doesn't have any powers. What's he doing? And Batman just swings around. He's like, I'm just, I have a supreme knowledge of the city. And so he's just like, very good. I won't underestimate you and everything. So Batman studied up on him. He's like, I know you have infrared heat vision. Do you see this like force field around me?
Yeah.
Trying to keep Superman from beating him up. And he bluffs Superman, and it's like, this is how you can tell, okay, Superman's still obviously very early in his heroing career, where Batman's probably been doing this.
Yeah,
he's at least a little bit more wizened.
So what Bruce says, and so he's like, I devised a way to stop you. If you penetrate the force field around surrounding my body, an electric signal will go out instantly. A single detonated bomb hidden somewhere in Gotham City, the explosion will kill an innocent person.
Yeah.
Like,
so he does. He's obviously he's bluffing Superman, because Batman's not going to, of course, knowingly blow up some innocent person.
Yes and no. We find out at the end of the issue.
Well, yeah,
but we also find out this
Magpie.
Yeah, Magpie. What she does to Bull, who had let's be honest, Bull had a pretty tough issue.
Yeah.
He gets beat up by Batman, runs back to the boss, and gets happy birthday.
And dynamite.
Yeah, dynamite in the mouth. Yeah. Poor guy. That was rough.
In the next scene where they're talking, he goes, I just heard an explosion.
Yeah.
Followed by laughter. And that's how they know where to go. It's like, so again, you find out Superman is still very, very powerful. And obviously,
I just love it. Everything you get, all the Superman. It's a Superman being super, sucking in the poison mist and flying up to space, then letting out.
Yeah.
No. Looks like he's blowing chunks in space, but it's actually gas.
Yeah, and
oh no, go ahead.
Another thing, it also kind of set up the tragic villain who basically, isn't your regular kind of criminal just a woman who's basically lost her sanity?
Yep.
And the way they point out, said, surrounded by these pretty things she can never own, so she went to work for the museum, kind of the same thing. And but I love when Batman says, yes, I feel sorry for her, but I feel more sorry for her victims, because earlier in the issue, when he describes the jewelry store guy, I mean, what he said, it took the police days to find all the pieces.
Days to find all the body parts.
And, that's when we find out who the innocent person was that Batman had planted the bomb on. It turns out to be himself.
Turned out to be Batman.
Now, but like I said, I do love the detail, especially the detail of the bag, Peter's using.
Yeah.
Here in this, and then look at the car. That's Batman's ride.
Yeah, it very much does have that buddy cop tone of like, there's the older guy or the wiser guy on the force who knows how the real world is, and Superman's kind of the rookie. He's still kind of newish in his hero days, so he doesn't know. I mean, and actually, if I'm remembering right, it might have been in
the bomb.
It was either Cataclysm or No Man's Land. But Superman shows up to help Gotham City after the earthquake, and Batman tells him then Gotham and Metropolis are two very different places.
Yeah.
So what Superman does in Metropolis doesn't work in Gotham City.
That's another, that's another thing for another stream. As much as I like No Man's Land, that was idiotic. But I digress.
Oh, okay.
Well, because
here,
I said
it worked. I think it worked better.
If your whole town has been devastated by an earthquake, you're not going to turn down the help of the most. I mean, like Superman and Flash, they can come in here and clean that shit up like that. Anyway,
right. But yeah, here I think it worked.
Oh yeah, well really there was a scene in an early issue of Black Lightning where Superman's going to try to take Black Lightning in, and he says, he goes, this is your way doesn't work here. So they see you coming, the rats scurry back into their holes and wait for you to pass. But in this, after they've wrapped it up, Superman concedes that Batman is doing a good job. And he goes, but I'm going to keep an eye on you so you don't ruin it for the rest of us. And I love the line at the end because, again, this is setting up a new status quo. Batman says, in another life, we may have been friends.
Mm.
So that was letting you know that it didn't just reset. They were going to basically starting from scratch. So
Yeah.
I thought that was a very poignant way to end that issue.
Oh yeah, I really, like I said, I really enjoyed this one. Just the two different personalities meeting each other. It's the tried and true formula when you have two heroes meet each other for the first time. They fight each other first, or they're at odds, and then by the end of the story, they're teaming up against the bad guy. But this was a great one. This, like I said, this is probably my favorite issue in the entire run.
Next is next book. Gonna go next.
This one's probably my second favorite one. I really enjoyed this one. With hair.
I know, it's so weird. Seeing, yep, you have the same one.
With hair and
yeah, that is my favorite panel of the whole entire book.
Like, yeah,
the whole interaction between him and Lois in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's like snooping around his apartment. You're like, hey, it's not a pigsty. It doesn't look like a bomb went off. It's actually well maintained. Oh yeah, you have your parents.
But like he says in the door, he's like, Lois, it's so early. I haven't even shaved yet. You can see little stubbles on Superman's skin.
Little
so then he goes into his bathroom. You see right here, and he starts using his heat vision.
Yep. He has the razor. He has to turn it on first, so that it sounds like
he hears the razor noise.
The charade. Yeah.
He's there. And then you get the hair coming out and just lifting weights.
No. See, that I really liked, because this was funny. She says, these weights are really light. They're like the kind that I use. And Clark's like, oh, because he's super strong, so he doesn't know the difference between heavier weights and lighter weights.
I gotta call shenanigans on a couple things here.
Go ahead.
So he had an electric razor. Mm-hmm. On the off chance that someone shows up at his place right before he has to shave?
Well, I got the idea that this was like a pre-planned thing, like the invitation.
But the other one, okay, yeah, you've got super strength, but you can do math. You should have known to at least have had a few more weights on that. But again, it was for the story, so you'll make allowances. It was very to him, that's gorgeous art for any time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I guess the problem that a lot there are guys that are better than Byrne. Unfortunately, most of them have been priced out of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But at this time, Byrne was very, very good.
Yeah, there's a lot of scenes here, like even just like these little cityscape panels, like that. That's incredible.
Oh, yeah,
I love that. Or like they show Lex's ocean liner. Like that, just the landscape in the buildings is awesome.
All that on this. I love all this. The whole their book.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we get the guy that's his tour guide's leading them around. Yeah, he brings them to Lex Luthor. He wants to, because in issue number 2 he tries to meet Lois Lane, who's off chasing Superman. He's on his way to South America, and he won't be back for a year. So she's like, well, I'll see him when he gets back.
And it's very heavy. And this is also where he comes into the 90s Dean Cain Superman show hopefulness that Lex is in love with Lois because she's unattainable.
Yeah.
He's not in love with her. He wants to possess her.
He wants to possess her because she doesn't like him.
Because if you notice the way this unfolds, and we'll talk about this after the 6th issue.
Yep.
This whole thing is basically a reset of Superman and Lex, their dynamic. And Superman is the one person Lex can't control. Mm-hmm. And Lois Lane is the person he can't possess.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of his motivation when this starts.
Yeah, I didn't get so like in the modern, like whenever I would read like modern Justice League and there's Lex Luthor, his goal that I always picked up on was always Lex wanting to be like the top humanitarian, like out hero Superman,
So
or be better than Superman. This kind of flips that over, and he's just like, no, Superman's like because he tries to pay him at the end of the issue after
Yeah.
Superman's done all his heroics. Lex tries to pay him and like hire him as a bodyguard.
yeah,
Like, I don't want to do that. And so Lex comes to the conclusion, like, well, everyone else in the city knows that I'm in charge. Why doesn't Superman get with the program?
Now, I will say real quick, had Byrne stayed, I think Lex would have become so irrevocably evil, because a lot of things that they did into the 90s was kind of retcon without retconning some of the things he did, because Byrne's portrayal of Luthor was a psychotic, murdering madman who could barely keep his public persona,
separate from
public from it was like that madman was always bubbling at the surface, because he does some despicable things while Byrne is in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of back off on that, because the Lex needed more than one dimension. And that's what Wolfman, Stern, Simonson did for the character. If there's Burns, I think Burns' version of Lex Luthor would have had a much shorter shelf life, because he was a main player in the Superman books going forward. But had Burns' version stuck, it would have been him getting thrown in jail, breaking out, getting thrown in jail, breaking out.
He would have been a Batman villain,
more or less.
Yeah.
Or he would have been the Silver Age Lex Luthor. But since he did leave, his character was fleshed out, and a lot of his more heinous acts were kind of like, let's just not think about that and pretend they didn't happen.
Yeah.
I want to point out that Zach just glossed over the Superman feats and stuff. I love how they gave him an excuse how to become Superman, because at gunpoint, they basically he gets.
Oh, I was getting there.
Yeah,
I was getting there. Yeah. I kind of went.
I gave him an excuse and all, because I was wondering, like, how the heck is he going to train? Because like Peter Parker kind of like it just tries to run away.
Yeah, right.
You need an excuse. But then what he does here, I love how he just lifts up the whole entire freaking. You get to see how strong he is.
Yeah.
So, another example, if he flies around, everybody's like freaking out. I just everything on that. So you said even we just everything he does.
You also see also Lois doesn't sit by and do nothing. She's not the damsel in distress. She is a fully take charge. She can take care of herself. Kind of. I kept thinking of what's her name, Meg from the Hercules movie. Whenever I read Lois Lane's dialogue, for some reason, whoever voiced that character, her voice pops in my head. But yeah, she's written really well there. Superman doesn't all these people that are like, oh, women don't get to do anything. And I'm like, read this.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it wraps up, Lex Luthor is trying to buy Superman, like I said. And to me, the impression I got was that, Lex is so used to running Metropolis and so used to everyone bowing to his every whim.
I love
when Superman doesn't, he's like, well, if more people act like this guy, I'm going to be in trouble. That's where I was kind of.
Well, there's a couple things also. Just so that Lois grabbing a gun and shooting it doesn't just seem so completely out of character. Clark mentions that she was raised an army brat, so that's
true.
She's very comfortable with firearms.
Yep.
And at the end, while he's trying to pay off Superman, it comes to light that he set this up to test Superman's abilities.
Right.
And the mayor actually does the right thing and arrests Luthor.
Yeah.
That's where you get that scene on the last page. We're realizing he can't buy off Superman. He's going to have to destroy him.
Yeah.
And he basically tells him on the last page, he goes, "You're a dead man. You just don't know when."
Well, I was going to talk about that, but you guys I've been waiting my turn here. I love that on the steps, right? Yeah, he says I have a word for you, Superman, and he says there's a message, and in Clark, Superman's like, what? He's like, the most important message you'll ever hear, and quite possibly the last. You've made a mistake, Superman, a big mistake, a potentially fatal mistake. I run this town, Superman. Metropolis belongs to me. The people are mine to nurture or destroy as I see fit. And they've forgotten that. They've looked at you with your costume and your flashy superhuman powers. And they've forgotten who their master is.
Yeah.
Who is number one? I intend to remind them, Superman. I'm going to show you they're nothing, Superman. A cardboard cutout. One day, very soon. Now you're going to be died, Superman, and you're going to be destroyed, and you'll know who's doing it. Everyone in Metropolis will know. Remember, Superman, you're a dead man. It's just a question of how soon. And I get chills. I read this in Gene Hackman's voice when I read this, so it made it much more sweet.
Not as good, but I read it in Kevin Spacey's because Kevin Spacey's super. No, his Lex Luthor actually creeped me out when I was a kid. Like when he'd do like those jump scare yells. Like I don't like the guy.
This bravado is the Christopher Reeve interaction between Superman and Lex Luthor. Mm-hmm. I always compare it to that scene where he's got Superman, he's got him at his mercy, and he's talk to him. He's like, I am a brilliant mastermind. You're not gonna outsmart me. I will find your weakness and I'll exploit it. And make you pay. That's what I like about the Byrnes and comparing it to the Christopher Reeve. I think because this is after the Gene Hackman one was before this.
Yeah, about 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years. So I love that he still kind of kept that kind of attitude, the big bravado. And this actually leads into the next issue.
Yeah, book 5 actually continues that because
the Lex Luthor thing. Oh my god!
With Superman with this guy. It's not Lex. It's like some employee or
no. But it's the first appearance of the Lex Luthor armor.
Yeah, the battle armor.
Well, again, it's their way of paying homage to another staple of the Bronze Age. Mm-hmm. Was that wacky, armor that he would wear as a mustache twirling supervillain, as opposed to the evil businessman that he was reimagined as.
Yeah. But like it opens up and Superman's like, I know that this armor was made with parts from LexCorp, and this guy had a LexCorp ID, and Luthor, you can see Luthor's trying to be slippery. It's like, oh, stuff was stolen. You can check our computer records. And Superman knows. He's like, they can be copied. They can be, So you see this back and forth.
Do you know what his excuse was though? His excuse is like, well, the armor is like, it's like, unfortunately, this guy is unfortunate. Poor soul did not know this, that the armor, after wearing an hour the suit, it reverts to a vegetable. It was a scrapped NASA spacesuit that were designs that we no longer use. So I'm afraid he's liable to be buddy. Because
faster. It's like like that. Yeah.
But like I said, and he's like, as you see, Superman, you've come along a long way to Hong Kong for nothing. There's no way you can connect this laser tech on your person with me. Yeah. And now, if you be so kind, excuse me, I'm very busy. And I love Superman's like, all right, Luthor, we'll add this man's wasted life to the list of crimes you're going to answer for someday, and you will pay, Luthor. I'll see to that. If you continue your insane attempts to destroy me, one of these times you're going to slip up and expose yourself. And I'm going to nail you.
Yeah. And then you see what he's doing in Hong Kong. You see Luthor meeting with the Chinese scientists, trying to figure out what Superman's like, what his powers are.
The panel before that, you see what he said? He's like, after he left, he said he's like, impudent young pup thinks his superhuman powers make him better than Lex Luthor. Well, he's wrong. He's very, very wrong. And this is the day I prove that to the world. And then he talks to the doctor, and like I said, I love how he uses that word pup.
Yeah. He is older. I mean,
I know, but I just love the exchange. Yeah. And he's continue on to that. Yeah.
And then we get the
clone.
Yeah, the clone comes out. And Luthor finds out that he's an alien. Yeah. And then that's where, and this is where, from there it goes back to Metropolis. There's Lois Lane, and there's Lucy. Now, I didn't know Lucy ever went blind, so that was kind of a right out of left field.
It was something that happened to her. It says,
it was just added for this series.
Just for the series. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, okay, well, there's Lois being the big sister, trying to, make sure she's okay. And, but she's like, well, I've got to go to work. And so And yeah, like you were saying, the whole I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna jump. Forgive me, Lois. Like that just seemed out of left field. I was like, well, that seems sudden.
But it gives a way for him to actually talk to her and like and it's just a plot for later on what's going to happen with.
Well, again, had she accidentally fallen off, because it said it's if you make the conscious decision to end your life, that kind of changes you forever. Obviously, if you're successful, it doesn't matter, but if you're not, it still changes. And again, that was, to me, that was the one thing in the miniseries that that just didn't work for me. Dylan, if you're asking what the continuity was like for Man of Steel, it basically established a new one for the character going forward that lasted for about 12 years until Jeff Johns and Mark Waid started dismantling it.
Yeah, you see this ambulance that's stuck in traffic, and we get what appears to be Superman. You never see his face, but you see this guy in the Superman suit. He comes in, picks up the ambulance, gets
the
us
next
to the hospital.
panel after it catches Lucy, and she said, "Why do you feel so strange, so dusty?"
Yeah, right. So it's like, okay, and then we see Clark Kent down here at the Daily Planet, and he sees with his X-ray vision somebody
with a jacket and skirt on.
trouble. Yeah, with a jacket and it's the cape. So he's like, okay, well, I gotta go follow up on a story, and Lois is like,
and then we get Ben Stiller, Superman.
Yeah, I like this scene though where he's like changing in the stairwell.
Oh, that is great.
I like the motion.
That's the actor image stuff I like. They used to do it in all the comic books, even in Spider-Man. If we read some on the channel here, they are great.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then you see he sees Bizarro for the first time, and this is probably, I mean, at least I got this impression. This is the first time Superman's been against somebody. I think he even says it somewhere in this that he's always pulled his punches, so this is the first person he can really actually like put a little umph in.
Yeah. Now again, from the callbacks, the Bizarro character, as the Silver Age progressed, the Bizarro character was very popular, so they added a Bizarro Batman, Bizarro Jimmy, Bizarro Lois, and he would dress up as Clark Kent. Only he would just have the glasses on and the Superman outfit, or the suit. So this was kind of a nod and a wink to that.
Okay.
But the Bizarro character was definitely what he would refer to as Silver Age silliness.
Yeah.
He kisses Lois, gets her will.
Yeah, this was I like the way the way Byrne did this, because it gave us one of the old Superman villains, but found a new way to make it serious.
And we also get to see more of his powers because of that. We get to see he has microscopic vision and all that stuff. More examples.
Yeah. He says that I've never had to go up against anyone remotely as powerful as me, so I've fallen into the habit of pulling my punches, which I thought was cool. Superman actually gave fight somebody who can go toe to toe with him.
This Bizarro, as we call him and all, had short-lived life in this, which I don't like.
Yeah.
But when they flew into it, they crashed each other and called it snowing.
Yeah.
And
all the dust. Yeah.
And the only thing positive about this is the fact that the bus with chemicals where it was anything allowed her to see Lucy restore her vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this Bizarro wasn't. It didn't speak. It didn't have a personality.
So it wasn't Bizarro. It was a clone where Bizarro was actually from an alternate universe, right?
Well, yeah, that's just the one of the reasons. Endless characters like Bizarro was why the Crisis was necessary in the first place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're going back to like finding out his power set, if you go back to the issue before where he lifts the yacht out of the water, he mentions that he seems to be able to lift greater weights while he's in the air than when he's grounded.
Mm.
So, again, Silver Age Superman, could balance that ship on his pinky and spin it like a basketball.
Yeah.
But this was basically testing the limits of his powers. So
He had limits in this too.
Yes.
So yeah, I do like that because when I first got into comics, years before I read Superman, I just wasn't in because my thought was, well, Superman's like this all-powerful hero god. Like, what would be interesting about reading a guy that can do that? Like you're saying, spin planets around like billiard balls or
Now,
whatever.
my
So
question
I
is,
like that they give him limits and everything. I
so
like that.
I've always been fascinated about it as far as how the thought bubbles and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody go out and just like this is from the next issue, but does somebody like just go out and just like some of these are curled like that? Now, how do they know they need one or two? Like, obviously they're right. They have the dialogue first. You must have the script first, and then they draw everything in the art and stuff. And secondly, or
well, at other companies, it was done differently than the Marvel method,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which was art first, dialogue added.
yeah. Because I was like saying how they able to get all that information into one or two bubbles, you know.
This is
Someone tell me like on the bottom here. Look at that. That's a really wordy word bubble.
Yeah,
Bubble.
Zach. The crisis. I said also, Barry was gone. Wally was the Flash, and
right.
Instead of the speed of light, Barry could run at the speed of sound.
Right.
So the characters at DC were so ridiculously powerful in the Silver Age that there would be where nothing could happen to them.
Right.
I mean, they would Justice League issues would a Justice League battle in 1965 looked like an SJW Marvel battle with like Kamala Khan or Captain Manvers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that makes sense. I like this whole
And not nearly as but they were still more interesting than the Marvel ones.
Oh, well, of course, better written, I'm sure. So this final issue, The Haunting, we see something that I really like, which is Superman kind of going back home, going to Smallville to visit his folks, and this is like I was saying, like there's Clark Kent and then there's Superman, but even with Clark Kent, there's like Metropolis, and then there's Smallville Clark Kent, where Smallville Clark Kent seems like he's a little bit more relaxed. He obviously doesn't have to keep up he doesn't have to slump, he doesn't have to slick his hair, but he just seems to be more relaxed and at ease in Smallville. Like you see that, when he's talking to his mom and dad, it's like he doesn't have to keep up appearances. His hair is like I said, no slick back. It's got the cowlick and everything. He's
I gotta say,
chilling out.
I gotta say, I do like the fact that they keep that even in the series too. The whole Lana Lang being in love with Clark. She said like it's like you showed me your powers and then you left. So I mean, like there was nothing here for me. I would have been happy if you would have been an ordinary man. Even if that's an ordinary man, we had in like a bunch of ordinary kids.
Yeah, right.
But I love that they keep it in there. Like she's like. But you belong to the world, though. You're Superman.
She was never in love. It's in the Silver Age. Lana was in Superman. Lois was always scheming to find out if Superman was Clark Kent. In Superboy, Lana was always scheming to find out if Superboy was Clark Kent.
Mm-hmm.
And she, I think she cared for him as a friend, but so I thought that was kind of a nice touch the way they did this, where since he didn't have the power, he wasn't Superboy in this reality.
No,
I like how he revealed himself, and obviously she had feelings for Clark that he didn't reciprocate, and I was very human. Their interaction, the way the way she reacted to that, and how it had affected her going forward.
She said she followed Metropolis. She followed him as Superman, hoping, watching, and stuff. She realized that that you just only kissed me as a brother would on the forehead. So you're like in love. So so she moved back to her old parents' farm to rebuild it.
Yeah.
And she kind of stays in Smallville in that farmhouse, and you see her in these future books come. Zach, you'll see that Lana's there for him, and she's still pining for him.
Mm-hmm.
But not
forever, because she has moving on.
Yep.
Yeah. And then that's
yeah.
half the book, and then the other half that we get, Superman sneaks down to the kitchen to get some rhubarb pie, and he meets this ghost of Jor-El. And I gotta say, one thing I don't like reading about or hearing about every time a Superman comic comes up is, you know, Krypton. Whenever all the Krypton lore and everything gets, I feel it just muddies up the water. So this, I mean, it's important. Obviously, you want Clark to know like where he comes from, who his parents are, and everything.
You get her attacked again later on, and then you see
like,
Pa come with the shovel.
But
hologram. Yeah.
this was done to put it to bed.
Yeah.
Because at the end, he even says, he goes, you know, I'm from Earth. I'm an American.
Yeah.
He goes, and Krypton is a curiosity of what might have been.
Right.
And that was putting the final nail in the everything is it revolves around Krypton.
Yep.
And that unfortunately is what Jeff Johns, Mark Waid, and Richard Donner undid in the early 2000s. And I think to the great detriment of the character, because that version of Superman cannot help but devolve into being a boring character.
Yeah. This is the one where he says, like, yeah, I was conceived in space, but I was born in the rocket in America.
Go ahead and read Zach.
Yeah, it's like I'll cherish the memories that Jor-El and Lara gave me, but only, like you said, as curious mementos of a life that might have been. Krypton bred me, but it was Earth that gave me all I am, all that matters. Krypton made me Superman, but it's Earth that makes me human. So, yeah.
You notice in Byrne's version, Krypton, the Vision would be Mr. Personality on that planet.
Yep.
You know, because they are completely emotionless, sexless. They're just they just exist. And obviously, when other writers changed all that, they gave them obviously more personality. But I like this version because I'm like you, Zach. I'd already been reading for 10 or 11 years when they did this, and I never really cared for Krypton because but because they would always do hoax. This is a hoax. This is an imaginary story type thing. And I never found it interesting.
Yeah, I just
Rhaegar disagrees. He does.
Hey, look, if that's your cup of tea, then by all means have at it. I mean, and there are some iterations that I like.
I gotta acknowledge it. Curious Mentos, that's a good one.
Like I said, as far as Krypton goes, like you can, if you want to hear more and more about Krypton, read the Exile story, which comes later in these chapters in these issues. Superman leaves base, and then he finds the Eradicator device, which restores his memories of Krypton. You learn more about Krypton, how they things, and then also Krypton has been done to death since then. Like as Breen's pointed out, if you haven't learned about Krypton, oh my gosh, you are a needy little kid.
Actually, I would say there was one bit at the beginning of the first issue where it shows Jor-El and Lara on Krypton, and it just kind of stood out to me. It seemed timely because Jor-El was like, "Oh, we got that. We control the Earth. We can make it rain where we want. We can make it do whatever," and that's what made the planet blow up. So it's like you can tame the planet as much as you want to.
But like I said, you go through these next couple, I'd say through Action comic books, Superman, which these are the next series that comes based off of this.
Series. The one with Metallo.
Follow that, read that, and also at the end of each issue, it tells you where to read next. You can Action Comics as well.
This one.
Before we get there, okay, Zach, obviously, Venk and I have read this more than once. This was your first time.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I really enjoyed it. It's different. So like the last year or so, I've been dipping my toes and getting more into books that are more about individual heroes. Usually I stick to the team books, Avengers, Justice League, Fantastic Four, whatever. There were a few I'd read like Green Arrow or Flash, but yeah, this was my first time actually reading, aside from a few Tomasi issues, reading a Superman book, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's good. I can see now. I know people in both camps. There's people that like the Snyderverse Superman, and the people that don't. The people that don't tend to like the John Byrne-ish run, and I can see why. This is the wholesome, almost the Captain America, good apple pie Boy Scout run that, that's the vibe I get if I watch like Superman 2 or the Justice
So
League cartoon. Yeah,
you know how
I enjoyed it.
Breen, talking about how he lifted up that ship and all that stuff into the air.
Mhm.
That happens a lot more in these issues. And as I like about it, it's showing his feats, it's like, but it's not really him showing his feats. It's there to remind you that he is Superman because they write him so human in these between Roger Stern, Jerry Ordway, Jan Jurgens, going between Action Comics, Superman Adventures, or Adventures of Superman, and then Superman. These three titles cross over between each other, and I love it. It's just like, holy crap, editorial was there. There was actually continuity. They actually gave a damn about the product. It wasn't all about, hey, I'm a diva, I'm gonna write something and then leave. There was no propaganda.
In these days, comics didn't have greater aspirations than being good comic books.
And
hey,
look,
it shows.
He got Eagly. He stole Eagly from Peacemaker. He's so patriotic.
No, you lost all respect.
But Rhaegar, and I get that, and I like the Snyderverse movies. I kind of have a foot in both camps. I do like what Henry Cavill did with the character, but this is like
I said,
when I first read Justice League, it was the one that Ed Benez was drawing. It was Brad Meltzer. Then I think it went to Dwayne McDuffie, and then I was watching the Justice League cartoon. So this fits more in line with that because he's the Boy Scout, the good guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really refreshing to read. It's not something, it's not like modern Superman where it's all just like a tiny, I think who was it? West did a video today where he's like, the people at DC Comics are having to explain to people at Warner Brothers, well, what's Superman doing? Is he saving people? Is he doing these?
Well, he's not really on Earth right now. And
he's not on Earth, and his son has the title, and he's not really saving anybody. He did just come out to his mom and had his first kid. So this is what you want to read. This is just great heroic storytelling.
To the miniseries itself. I've been reading comics for 47, 48 years now, give or take. And this is my favorite. Okay, it's my favorite miniseries because I consider Crisis a maxi series. This is my favorite miniseries of all time.
Yeah.
This my second favorite was released about. Actually, some of the issues might have even come out at the same time. The Legends miniseries.
Oh yeah.
Which I think maybe we should do sooner rather than later because that's a greater introduction to the DC, the new DC universe as a
post-crisis
whole.
and everything.
Yeah. And it crosses over into issues of like Superman 3 is a Legends crossover.
Okay.
One of the Action Comics issues, I believe, is a Legends crossover. And I said, it's a tremendous miniseries also. But this was, and I can't tell you how, as getting these new off the rack, how exciting a time it was for DC readers because it unfortunately they never sold because DC it seems like it's like the better they got, the more Marvel pounded them in sales. And then in the early 90s, Image would just destroy them in sales.
Yeah.
And let's be honest. There was no good writing at Image in those early days.
Yeah. I know Marvel was the big heavy hitter. I know they had like X-Men was really big at the time. But there's something about the DC, like especially post-crisis, like I don't know, I just love it. I was flipping through and I saw this cover.
The first 5 years of DC post-crisis is, as a whole, probably the greatest era I've ever read. The shooter era at Marvel had a ton of gigantic highlights and some of the greatest runs of all time. But you had to look really hard to find a DC book in those 5 years that wasn't very well done.
That might be the one you were talking about,
That
the
is.
Legends crossover.
You know,
That's just a badass cover too. I love that.
I like how he actually, unlike in some of these issues, actually he confronts him, and it's you get Lex Luthor confronting him. He has a kryptonite ring. The Superman thinks he's gonna go arrest him for hurting, adopting Lana. And he's like, how does it feel? It's like, I'm the one man you cannot touch. You'll die if you're still around me. It's like, good luck. Think you're throwing away with it? No, it's like, it does love how he's like, I love how he says, like, it says, to know all you have said, all you have to do is stand here and the kryptonite radiation will do the rest, but that's too easy. It's not the way I want to play this game. He tells him, like, I own you.
Jackson, I had to think about that for a second. I'm assuming you meant Amanda Waller, and yes, she was.
Peter Weller was in there too.
The Wall.
Now, here's the sad reality. This miniseries, you can get all 7 issues, because I'm counting the variant cover as 2, for less money than about 4 of the issues of America.
Oh, wow.
I mean, these are still $2 and $3 at a comic shop.
Yeah, that's something. I
love that. Get all the way. He's being chased by the Mega Beams.
Yeah. Yeah, I said this is.
He says, like, this isn't Superman. Who the hell is this weakling?
Yeah.
He pulled it over and over on Darkseid. I love that.
But I think I mentioned this last night. I miss the comics with the villain drawn oversized. We talked about that on the Fossils last night, because Shannon was showing the supervillain team up run, and in a few of the issues, Dr. Doom is like menacing over the entire cover, and so that's because again, comics didn't aspire to be anything other than comics,
right?
And that would be considered silly today.
Right, yeah. How dare you have fun with your comic book characters and make your characters larger than life? Be imaginative. How dare you? But no, I really enjoy this. I have like I don't know how much more is in this volume.
I mean, look at this. This is him with the Legend story. The new guys and stuff.
Yeah, I have it goes up to that point with the issue that I got on Comixology.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna continue reading that for sure. But yeah, granny goodness.
What a beautiful lady.
What a beautiful woman. Yamada. But yeah, no, I really enjoy this. I'm glad that y'all recommended this one. It's certainly a treat.
And you can, like I said, there's other than the first issue of the Superman series and the one and the cover he's showing now.
Yeah.
And I think issue 9, which is a Superman with the Joker's face. There's nothing in any of this that's valuable. So, and even those aren't, that issue's come down. But I mean, this is a very collectible series of books.
Yeah.
Because since it's not Marvel, I saw. I'll give you an example. I saw yesterday the Daredevil relaunch from the late '90s. Issue 9 is $200 now.
Jeez.
It was $5 a year ago, but now that's first Echo.
Oh.
But Marvel characters, when they're announced, those books skyrocket. DC's don't. So if you want to collect good comics, DC's the way to go, because other than that Teen Titans 12 with the first Batman who lolls, they're you don't run into $3, $250, $3. Right. You can just collect complete series.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm always finding like Justice League Internationals and there's always Action Comics and Detective Comics that I'm finding in my dollar bins or 50-cent bins.
This, I know, Zach, you must have bought the trade on Comixology.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. This is a $50 book, but because I think it's gone up a little bit in value online, I'm not sure. Because I don't think it's in print anymore that I'm aware of.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's cheaper if you can find the floppies.
But this collects the 6-issue miniseries plus the Superman series that came after this by Byrne, issues 1 through 4. Then connecting books as far as Action Comics 584 through 587, and then Adventures of Superman 424 through 428, and then it profiles from Who's Who update 87.
Yeah, actually, Breen, just confirming what you were saying about how collectible, how affordable they are. The first issue of the Man of Steel, not the miniseries, the one with Metallo on the cover.
Yeah, yes.
Venkman knows because I got him one. They were at my LCS, 2 of them in the dollar beds. It was $1 for Man of Steel #1, which to me just sounds criminal.
Here. I saw this for $15.
That one,
Comic Book Realm,
$1 at my shop. $1
on Comic Book Realm. They're listed at $8 a piece. I've never seen anybody try to get anywhere near that. So that's
But and the guy that runs my LCS here in town is like, if he has something that he can sell for more, he usually will. He's a stickler. He likes to go for the higher prices. But he had this in the dollar bins. I was like, dude, this is the #1 with John Byrne. Like, you're not going to try to get at least 3 or 5 out of it?
No.
I didn't actually say that to him. I was more than happy to pay him $2 for 2 issues and get out the door. But but so, yeah, this is great. I really enjoyed this. This Superman, I really like it. Way better than New 52 from what I read of him in Justice League or anywhere in New 52. Tomasi's Superman, as good as Tomasi's is, you can tell Tomasi, I think, takes a lot of inspiration from this with the good guy.
#1, the one you just showed that you paid $15 for, Vank.
Yeah.
Back down to 10. The Bloodsport, back down to 10.
Ooh.
The Joker cover, back down to 5.
Oh wow.
So there's, like I said, they are, $1 and $2 books almost all the way down the line, and till you get to issue 75, that's.
But kids, Bloodsport, he was in a movie, so you want to see how he got to that point. Read this book.
Right, sure.
It really just it's amazing how the difference in the speculator market between Marvel and DC. I mean, it's.
Well, DC, they're just all over the place with the movies. They have no synergy.
The only man,
maybe that's part of it.
And I gotta say that the idea of Bloodsport, the only guy to ever seriously wound Superman, like taking it out kryptonite, putting it into a gun, with bullets, and just launching him. He nearly killed him. That's why he was in a Blackgate prison, locked up.
Yeah, I said, I bought multiple copies of Man of Steel. I said, good Lord, I could crash Apple stock by buying it.
Yeah, I think I actually do have the Joker cover. Let me just a second grab it.
He doesn't have it under his couch cushions like we know you have all your handy issues. So yeah, this was good. I really enjoyed this. I learned something. I feel enlightened even. So yeah, I'll do the opposite of Jimmy. I'll actually agree and say that this was the better run. I'm not going to try to hold anything new up to it, really. Just kidding, Jimmy.
Well, like I said, the Jurgens and Tomasi version to me is in the ballpark. I think it's it's definitely second. But I said, this through about 2000, 2001 is really good. And the first 5 or 6 years of this are just phenomenal.
Yeah. So awesome.
So here's the book that Zach gave me.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
$1. Found it for $1.
I gotta change the bag out, but it's going for $15 at my comic shop.
Oh wow.
And then here's the Joker cover.
Looks like Cesar Romero been hitting the gym.
Like I said, that, and then just because I don't have a couch, here's my legends.
Oh, nice. With the yoga instructor Black Canary.
Yeah, so when these were coming out, Like I said, what a great time to be into comics. Yeah, this was '86, and man, there's like I said, between Man of Steel, Legends, the Superman series taking off. Yeah, all the
New Teen Titans was around the same time too, wasn't it?
yeah, they didn't relaunch.
Okay.
They were kind of. Unfortunately, they probably should have. Like I said, the New Justice League. Wonder Woman got a reboot.
Right.
Green Lantern continued on for about another year or two, but we got a new Green Arrow that was based on the Longbow Hunters miniseries. There's just, like I said, they couldn't miss a Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And what a joy it is to read a 66 issue Suicide Squad series without Harley Quinn.
Without Harley Quinn. Or King Shark or yeah.
That was the other thing too in Legends. He finds Batman and finds Joker, and it's just Joker. There's no Harley Quinn, there's
Just
no Robin.
Joker, yeah. No Harley.
Okay, well, because she hadn't been created yet.
Yeah.
It's
DJ. None of that. Oh, look at that. That Wonder Woman. That's when George Perez started his series, right?
Yes.
Wonder Woman? Okay. That's the George Perez one.
Yeah.
Right on.
Well, look, Zach, you may recognize him.
Hey, Shazam.
Captain
Captain Marvel.
It's Captain Whitebread. Don't you
Hey,
remember?
he's a great hero. You leave him alone. He's not his fault. He's 15
I just
years
love
old.
this.
Phantom Stranger. Yeah.
I said he had Godfrey in here too, and all.
And also, you got to. This was Darkseid before he was overused.
Yeah, before he became the Thanos of DC, basically.
Well, the other great thing about I say the only time I've ever seen him Darkseid used greater than this was actually the 1996 animated series, where Superman actually went against him and realized he doesn't have to hold back anymore. You're the one guy I can kick your ass, not to worry about.
That's the Justice League cartoon.
No, it was actually in the animated series too.
Oh, he's a super. Okay,
he took over it and he killed he killed the cop.
I'm thinking of
the one that's always with who's the she eventually became a lesbian.
Maggie Sawyer.
Maggie Sawyer.
The
cop that was always with her. The guy who was always smoking a cigar. Brain, do you know what his name is offhand?
Turpin,
yeah, Turnpike gets killed by Darkseid, and he's like, "That's the last straw. You killed an honest, good man." And then he's like, "I'm just gonna beat the crap out of you now."
Maggie was a lesbian from her conception. They just weren't allowed to say it because there's a scene in an early Superman book where she's questioning Lex Luthor, and Lex has this, like girl come in with a real short skirt and a low cut top, and she's bending over, and Lex even says stuff like, he makes a snide comment to Maggie, who's like trying to check her out. They couldn't be overt about it then, but you knew.
Yeah.
Mainly because she had a Mo Howard haircut too.
Yeah. But even before this, it wasn't like, just like, hey, I like girls now. She had a husband, she had a daughter.
Yeah.
It was a daughter, right? It wasn't a son. Either way, there's an issue in, I believe it's in Adventures of Superman, where her daughter gets kidnapped by this guy. Basically, he was taking all the kids hostage, turning them into freaks like him, monsters like him. And Superman, as going against somebody who is supernatural, actually had to go against this person, and it was just like hard for him because he's like, I hate magic being stuff and all. So, and just he finally finds out where they are, and they're able to like bring the kids. I think they brought the kids to the Cadmus or Star Labs, one of the two. But eventually, he went in there. He saved. Because she was pleading. She was like, I said, hey, I know you're busy and all stuff, and it's just, you probably get this all the time, but can you really help? I'm breaking down here. Can you help me? And you just, you see, she's even she, because at the point she was divorced. She wasn't with her husband anymore, but she was just distraught. She got back in with her husband, tried a little bit of that, but then they work out later on. A couple of issues later, it was actually cool to see in a character that's actually well thought out, well written, and not just used for hey, guess what? I brownie points. I'm gay. It was just, she wasn't shallow. She had personality. And that's what a lot of these creators today don't understand. If you're going to write a character that's gay, don't write them as a stereotype.
Right.
Don't write because you think that, oh, if I do this, hey, I'll get a pat on the back.
Yeah, modern writers know that once they make a character gay, their job is done. That's all anyone expects out of the character from that point forward.
Right.
Is that they're gay.
Right.
That was just one facet of Maggie's well-developed personality.
Mm-hmm.
You can say the same thing about Renee Montoya in Gotham Central. I said, gay characters, they had more to them than their sexuality.
Right. And Renee's never been, I mean, she's been written bad lately, but I mean, when they made her into a lesbian, she was still being written like, I think it was...
Wasn't she in Greg Rucka's Batwoman series? I thought she was.
Yeah, she was, but
before that, she was in Chuck Dixon's...
oh, okay. I
believe, right?
The series, I believe, where she came out was Gotham Central.
Oh, okay. And
that was Brubaker and Rucka.
Because, because what Two-Face was pining for her, I think, in Gotham Central, right? Two-Face had like a crush on her.
Yeah, because I think she Dixon's version of her was straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember reading about she actually in this is another story, but No Man's Land, she had a part in there, and she had to deal with Two-Face. And,
you're right. Yeah.
I think she was still straight at that time.
At that time, yes, but still, but you tell that she was like, they treat this character with respect, no matter what her gender, what her supposedly, sexuality is. Mm-hmm. They didn't care as far as that. It wasn't the focal points. It was more about her actually being a human being and being not just, all right, I'm in the background character and that's it. No, I love when you actually take characters. And whether they're recurring or not, you give them a personality. You give them something where he's like, why do I care that person's there to saying hi to Superman just walking by? They're not, these characters are more than that. You see a glimpse of their life, and they said they become more human. I love it when you humanize a character.
Yeah.
But then again, depends on what kind of character it is. You don't want it to the point where you humanize to the point where you forget that, hey, he's a superhero,
Mm-hmm.
That's why I always like Clark struggling between him being Superman and being a human being, wanting to be loved, wanting to have a family and all that stuff. He just wants to be a normal life, but he also wants to help save people, and he's trying to find a way to balance that. And they said the whole struggle between him and Lois, like she loves Superman, but he loves her as Clark, and eventually it does where she realized, hey Clark, wow, you actually are a good person, you're a good catch. She starts to fall in love with Clark, unless it's Superman. But he's also trying to not tell her the secret. So, he's trying to hold it from her, and he's trying to keep Superman. So he has to keep it all juggling all together until when he finally does it. Though it's like we've seen interpretations when he finally does. Like in the new, there's a Rebirth. He's I think there was the two Supermans. They weren't merged yet. And he tells her the new 52 one version told her like, hey, I'm Superman, and she just slaps him. Like, I just want that's the one thing about Lois. If you don't understand the character, you shouldn't be writing this character. Any characters. Lois Lane is a character you need to understand that she needs Superman. She needs Clark in there just as much. Having her by herself, it just changes the character fundamentally. Same with Superman. Without Lois in there. Even when he was in Superman, it was in Exiles. Roger Stern and Ordway also realized it. He still was thinking about Lois. He was still thinking about them. The first thing he does when he comes back, when he came from space, he went and Lois was going downtown, and there's a robot was attacking. The robot that was provided by Darkseid once again. And it was basically coming through, and Lois got caught in the rubble. Superman comes back and he stops at the planet, talks to Jimmy, and he's like, well, Lois is down over there. And he's like, oh crap. He runs over. And I said, when I read that issue, I forgot, I apologize, I don't remember what issue it was. I had the Superman, like Christopher Reeve playing, like he flies in, he just starts battling the robot, knocking it down, he sees Lois, helps her up, Rebel. It was like, oh my, the most Superman moment you could possibly have is when he comes back, he comes in, saves the day. it was such a because you thought Lois was actually injured. She was crushed between rubble and just about to die. That's how I kind of felt when you watched the Margaret Kidder, Superman, where she was being buried alive, being buried by the dirt stuff. You see him do all these super heroic feats.
Mm-hmm.
When a writer can make you that smile that much, is that these John Byrne, or away Roger Stern, when you can make you smile that much, they've done that's a good book, because holy crap, as I said, you need to be reading these books. You need to read this as well too. Superman, get into these. If you've never read these, you're missing out. I know Green, you praise Brubaker and stuff and that stuff, but like, I love these.
It's two different kinds.
I know. I'm on a positivity high right now.
Now, Zach, I think we're probably getting close to the end of this stream. So, do you have time to read Legends in the next week?
Probably. How long is this? Is it a 6 issue?
It's another 6 issues.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I probably can.
It's only $10.
$10.
That's what the trade says.
And
I can do that.
Now, one time, issue 3 had the first Suicide Squad, and was worth
the first one where it was like just the 4 regular people.
No, it was Waller, Boomerang, Blockbuster.
Okay. Gotcha.
Bronze Tiger.
Bronze Tiger. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that at
White
one
Tiger.
time was worth $30-something.
Uh-huh.
It's down into single digits now. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, all the Suicide Squad issues that shot up came back down and were replaced by the Suicide Squad series. Also has the first Barbara Gordon as Oracle, and that issue is worth like $80 now.
Oh wow!
But so there are still some expensive ones in that series. So I wasn't exactly, accurate when I said that there's a couple that stick out, but given that it's DC, just wait a couple years, those will probably come down too.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'll put that on. I'll get that on the tablet.
It shows you all the books are involved in this. Going over.
Yeah, they're
because that's one I've been meaning to read for a while too. I think like he might have had some on one of his auctions.
86 Dragon Majesty.
So I love that Justice League International.
Yeah, but I love the Mike Byrne right there. Mike Byrne Flash. When you get the Suicide Squad and Suzanne.
Oh, okay. I thought that was Jay Garrick. I was like, what is that?
No, that's why he's running against. He's long.
No, the Shazam. I thought that Shazam was him because I saw the red with the blue pants.
And then you got Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So, definitely. If you guys haven't checked this out, I got this off a friend of ours. He does an auction every Saturday nights over at 9:00 Eastern. Check him out, Angleton. I love comics, but he's been doing it running on his other channel called Old Man Comics. Subscribe to both channels. Angleton loves comics, or Angleton's, and then they have them with Old Man Comics. So that's also where I got this issue too from him. So, the issue as well.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
I got this from Zach. So, so that's it. I mean, I hate to go. We have like 7 people finally. We have people watching us. But we've been going for an hour and a half, almost hour and a half now. Yeah. We're running out of things to say.
We're not running out of things to say. I could go on all night.
Well, I just want to know: is there any more?
You gotta leave them wanting more.
I gotta ask. I'll ask this one: is there any final questions for the panel here? Since we're getting ready to leave. Anybody?
Yeah. What kind of popcorn is Zach eating?
Butter.
Act 2.
Act 2 with.
I didn't have to see it. I just saw the blue. I saw like it's Act 2.
That's also why I have a tablet, because if I had the actual books, my fingertips are covered in butter. I'd be rivaling Doug Ernst.
Oh, here we go. It's right here. I didn't see this. Yeah, I think you already answered that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
All right. But I think that's it. If there is no other questions at all, we're gonna end it right here. Hope you guys enjoyed this. And those who are just tuning in now, you can after we're done, just rewind the stream. And then if you have any comments, please leave them down below. We love comments. It helps out our algorithm here. And also lets us know that you actually give a shit about what we're saying.
And leave a like too. If you can't comment, we hope you do. But if you can't, at least leave a like. It helps us out.
Right. And as Ronnie always says, is if you want to contribute to this channel, we don't beg you for money, but we'll accept money. All right. Check out the Ko-Fi at ko-fi.com/Palpatine. All right. All right. I guess I'll see you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. There's a reading on this channel with the puppets. I'm sure you'll see the guys to the right of me. And down below. Yeah.
The puppets.
Yep. For reading. And then there's also a reading going to be happening over on Angleton I Love Comics. Or Angleton Loves Comics. One of the two. Just look up Angleton, you'll find it. All right. See you later, guys. Stay super, right?
Oh, that was so bad. I'm sorry, y'all.
And buy this book, please.